Chapter 471, Wolf King, Are You Crazy? Kill! Yen Tianji shouted. In an instant, Yen Tribe's Gu masters starting attacking, using an assortment of moves. Water Flow, Starfire, White Bone, Firebird, all sorts of attacks were unleashed and targeted Water Demon. Bright rainbow color lights soon shone on Water Demon's face. These attacks were eye-catching and dazzling, they were like fireworks in the night sky, beautiful and lethal. Water Demon was in a dangerous situation, but he did not dodge or evade, instead he showed a cold smile. In his eyes, a piercing eerie light burst out, the light was shining brightly as it stunned a Yen Tribe Elder in front of Water Demon. This Yen Tribe Elder grimaced as he felt his vision blurring. This was Water Demon, activating the rank 3 Sight Blow Gu. His gaze had a strong attack and could bypass defensive measures, directly attacking the Gu Master's soul. Yen Tribe Elder who was attacked took 3 steps back, trying to regain his composure. A mere rank 3 Sight Blow Gu could only be used as a surprise attack, it caused little damage to Yen Tribe Elder, it could not change this dangerous situation around for Water Demon. But Water Demon's lips curled into a cold smile. He activated his rank 4 Yellow Gold Primeval Essence, injecting it into one of the Gu in his aperture. Rank 4, Location Swap Gu. Swoosh! With a light sound, Water Demon Hao Ji Lu's body vanished, and reappeared at Yen Tribe Elder's location. As an exchange, the Yen Tribe Elder who was attacked appeared at his original location. Oh no! Oh no, quickly stop! Yen Tribe's Gu masters shouted, such a change caught them off guard, they were greatly shocked. They wanted to hold back on their attacks, but the attacks were already formed, they could not be stopped. That Yen Tribe Elder was scared out of his wits, he frantically activated his defensive Gu, but this Gu only lasted for half a breath's time before dying. Academy Elder. Yen Tribe leader Yen Tianji shouted, seeing his tribesmen dying in front of him, engulfed by the assortment of attacks, beaten to a pulp. Ha ha ha, great, great. It seems that Yen Tribe Gu masters are all dumb pigs, you actually killed yourselves. Ha ha ha. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu laughed as he raised his head, saying in a mocking tone. Water Demon, Yen Tribe will be enemies with you for all eternity. Hao Ji Lu, I will tear your tendons apart to relieve this anger in me. Kill, tear this demon to shreds. Yen Tribe Gu masters shouted angrily, their necks turning red from agitation. But even though they shouted loudly, none of them attacked. Water Demon had a rank 4 location swap Gu, this was beyond their expectations. Rank 4 location swap Gu was a unique movement Gu. One had to make contact with the other party in order to swap locations. But the use of the Gu worm not only depended on suitability, but also its compatibility with other Gu worms. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu used the rank 3 Sight Blow Gu together with the location swap Gu. As long as his gaze attack works, it means he made contact with the other party, and he could use the location swap Gu using this exploit. Hao Ji Lu had such a Gu worm, he was not afraid of fighting a crowd. This was why he dared to challenge the entire Yen Tribe higher-ups, kidnapping Yen Tribe's big Missy Yen Chui heir, and extorting Yen Tribe. Although there were many Yen Tribe Gu masters, the Academy Elder just died in front of them, everyone was lost and did not have any confidence at the moment. Water Demon, so what if you have location swap Gu? This Gu causes intense primeval essence expenditure. How many times can you still use it? I'll tell you, we invited the righteous hero Wolf King Xianxia who had just returned, you are now surrounded by the wolf group, there is nowhere to run. At the crucial moment, Yen Tianji stood up, his words were like a tranquilizer that stabilized the people. Wolf King Xianxia. Hao Ji Lu's gaze concentrated on Fang Yuan who was sitting on his wolf. Fang Yuan had a broad shoulder and thin waist, his gaze was sharp and divine. He rode the hump wolf as he was surrounded by wolves, like he was standing at the top of a mountain, although he was silent, he gave Hao Ji Lu a strong sense of pressure. Wolf King Xianxia, I have heard of your name since I was young. You are not dead. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu concentrated on guarding against the Yan tribe Gu masters as he tried probing Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was a little more than 300 steps away from Water Demon. He observed him from far away with a plain expression. Water Demon's heart shook, although the sight blow Gu had a wide attack range and could attack anyone who could be seen with his eyes. The further the distance, the weaker the attack would be. A distance of 300 steps was the limit of the sight blow Gu, and it had zero threat once the target was further than 300 steps away. Fang Yuan's location made Water Demon very uncomfortable. This was a very peculiar distance. If Water Demon moved a step out, he could hit Fang Yuan, but it felt like Fang Yuan was trying to trick him into doing so. Hao Ji Lu's heart felt greater pressure. If this person really is Xianxia, I cannot use the sight blow Gu to attack him. Sight-based attacks compete the souls of both Gu masters. As an enslavement path Gu master, his soul is definitely extremely strong. Are you really Xianxia? What evidence do you have? Humph, your Yen tribe randomly brought one person to impersonate the Wolf King. Do you think I am a fool? Hao Ji Lu purposely snorted. Yan Tianji laughed coldly. Water Demon, you really fail to recognize Mount Tai. Is the Wolf King so easy to impersonate? When we battle later, you will feel the Wolf King's true power. Lord Xianxia, it is up to you. Kill this Water Demon, get rid of a great threat to the people. The other Yen tribe elders shouted, trying to make Fang Yuan fight for them. Fang Yuan sat on the wolf back, looking around. When he saw that his wolf group was at their planned location, and encircled this battlefield completely, he knew the time was ripe. His lips curled, revealing a cold and callous smile. He nodded slightly, the killing intent surging in his eyes. Indeed, you reminded me, it is time to strike. As he said that, the wolves howled as they opened their bloodthirsty mouths, flashing their sharp claws and teeth as they charged relentlessly. In an instant, 10,000 wolves attacked and started killing the Gu masters. The Grand Army caused everyone's expressions to change. Xianxia, what are you doing? How can you attack us? Yan Tianji shouted furiously, while feeling shocked and suspicious. Quickly stop. We are on the same side. Wolf King, are you crazy? You dare to attack us? Our Yen tribe and your Chang tribe had already submitted to young Master Lu Wenwu. The other elders blocked the wolves as they shouted frantically. That is exactly why I am dealing with you all. Go in peace, I will send the Chang tribesmen to accompany you soon enough. Fang Yuan said hatefully, his face distorting into a maniacal expression. Soon after, he shouted, Humph, I swore long ago, I will take revenge for what happened back then one by one. Back then, when Xianxia fought Hatu Gu and the bandits alone, Chang tribe did not send a single person to help him. There were hidden reasons after all. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu felt his heart jump as he thought of something. He did not expect such a huge change. He dodged the wolves' attacks as he shouted anxiously, Wolf King, I do not wish to be your enemy. The enemy of an enemy is a friend, right? Fang Yuan gave him a cold glance, saying lightly, look at you jumping all over the place, you are simply like a flea, just die together with them. Chapter 472, Power of the Enslavement Path. What? Water Demon Hao Ji Lu was furious. Ever since he started traveling the world, no one had dared to make such remarks about him or showed such contempt. Wolf King, you are too arrogant. Today, I shall make you pay the price for it. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu roared furiously and pushed forward with his palms. Rank 4, Waterfall Gu. His primeval essence poured crazily into the Gu, causing water vapor to fill the air. Then with a rumbling sound, an enormous water stream appeared out of nowhere. The water stream was incomparably fast, just like a waterfall crashing down from a high altitude. The light silver rapid stream brought with it an intense chilly might as it fiercely struck the wolf group. In an instant, over 1,000 wolves died or were injured. The rapid stream spread far away, thoroughly clearing the area around Hao Ji Lu. At the same time, Yen tribe's Gu masters jointly activated a Gu worm. This was a rank 5 wind barrier Gu, and when activated, it formed an enormous wind. The wind was silky, and brought with it some green threads as it surrounded everyone. The wolf group's assault was all blocked by the formless wind. The wild Gu on many wolf kings attacked the wind barrier, but it was like a pebble falling into a sea as the attacks vanished without trace. How can this be? On Crescent Lake, Yen Chui'er, who was taken as a hostage, looked at the intense battle on the lakeside with a dumbfounded look. She had never expected the situation would develop in such a way. She, who had been the main reason of the fight previously, was now a spectator instead. Hump wolves retreated, pulling distance from Fang Yuan and water demon Hao Ji Lu. Idiots! Fang Yuan sneered as he looked at water demon Hao Ji Lu charging over, approaching closer, and Yen tribesmen who were in a defensive formation. Water demon Hao Ji Lu and Yen tribe leader Yen Tianji were 2 rank 4 Gu masters. Moreover, there were also Yen tribe's higher-ups, a dozen or so rank 3 Gu masters. Their strength could be said to be truly formidable. However, an enslavement path Gu master's strength was the ability to fight an army alone. Back then, Chang Shan-yin led his wolf group and battled higher realm experts, not only killing rank 5 Gu master Ha-Tu Gu, but even exterminating Ha-Tu Gu's group of valiant generals. How? Because he was an enslavement path Gu master. At present, the wolf group with Fang Yuan had already taken shape to form a decent size. The wolf group's scale had reached 30,000 and above. Not only did it contain 100 wolf kings and some 1,000 wolf kings, there was also a night wolf myriad beast king and a young mutated beast white eyes wolf. This scale might not even be half the size of the wolf group Chang Shan-yin had at his peak period, but it was already enough to annihilate 2 to 3 Gu tribes. And right now, Fang Yuan only had to deal with just 20 or so Gu masters. It was like using an ox cleaver to kill a chicken. Sure enough, after some time, water demon Hao Ji Lu was gasping and his momentum gradually stopped. He felt exhausted. Damn it! Such troublesome wolf manipulation skills, there are only some 100 wolf kings and 1,000 wolf kings. Water demon Hao Ji Lu's gaze towards Fang Yuan had already changed right now. It was not that he had not fought enslavement path Gu masters, but how could those enslavement path Gu masters he had fought before compare to Fang Yuan? Is this the Wolf King's wolf manipulation skills? Being in it is like falling into a deep swamp, you sink deeper and deeper. Water demon Hao Ji Lu's heart turned cold as he kept on warding off the wolf group's assault. He divided a bit of concentration to look into his aperture and grumbled. That intense charge and the activation of many powerful abilities to clear the path had caused his primeval essence to be expended intensely. Now there was less than half his total primeval essence left. Once the primeval essence was at the point of exhaustion, a Gu master's battle strength would start plummeting to the abyss. Hao Ji Lu had no choice but to exercise restraint once he considered this to be a long battle. Like this, his momentum thoroughly disappeared and he was firmly surrounded by the wolf group. Water demon Hao Ji Lu, a rank 4 Gu master who uses water path Gu worms, has great offense and is an expert at fighting one against many. He roamed all over northern plains since his early years and has committed many crimes, gaining a bad reputation. After capturing Yen Chui'er and successfully extorting Yen tribe, he then went on to participate in a heroes' assembly, offering Yen Chui'er to He Lulan. He Lulan was joyous and gave him great status. After entering Wang Ting blessed land and making great merits, Hao Ji Lu became He Lulan's number 3 general. Fang Yuan recalled the relevant memories, his gaze flickering faintly. In his past life, This Hao Ji Lu was also able to make a name for himself, and after living actively for 89 years, he was killed by Chang Shan. Great offense usually means a huge consumption of primeval essence. Hao Ji Lu is nothing to worry about anymore, and right now, he should be secretly making an escape path for himself. He is good at escaping in water, it will not be easy to make him stay today. After all, there are not many water wolves with me. But my main target is not him, but Yan tribe's Gu masters. Fang Yuan turned his gaze towards the Yan tribesmen. Yan tribe's Gu masters were experts in defense and were famous for it in northern plains. These Gu masters sure enough defended extremely well. Their rank 5 wind barrier Gu was simply like a tortoise shell, firmly protecting everyone within it. Humph, these Yan tribesmen are really naive. They still have the intention to protect their energy and watch from the sidelines when they are trapped. No wonder, history said Yan Tianji was extremely conservative, lacking initiative. Even though they want to stall for time, this is also exactly what I want. Fang Yuan sneered inwardly and intentionally slowed down the wolf group's offense. As time passed, Hao Ji Lu and the Yan tribesmen's primeval essence were also being depleted. Suddenly, a large group of shadows emerged from the woods. Lord Chang Shan, we have arrived. Gu tribe's current tribe leader Gu Guang arrived with Gu tribe's Gu masters behind him. You came quite fast. Fang Yuan indifferently glanced at him with a profound meaning. Gu Guang seemed to be pierced by the profound light in Fang Yuan's eyes as he unconsciously lowered his head and thought with reverence, this is the true heroic nature of the Wolf King, I didn't think I would see it today. Yes, after receiving Lord's letter, we immediately hurried over. People need to repay favors, Lord, you have helped our Gu tribe time and again, Lord's hatred is our Gu tribe's hatred too. Gu Guang immediately answered. It would not have been good for Fang Yuan to make a move at Gu tribe camp, thus, he agreed to Yan tribe on the surface. After gathering all the wolves, he used a Gu worm to send a letter when they were halfway to the lake. When Gu Guang received the letter and read it, his face was immediately filled with shock and horror. Lord Chang Shan wants to attack the whole Yan tribe. He could not help but cry out on the spot. Stabilizing his emotions, he continued reading and saw Fang Yuan's reason for it. It turned out that back then, Chang Shan-yin's mother had been secretly poisoned and Chang Shan-yin entered deep into poison grassland to search for the Gu worm that could detoxify the poison. On his way, he was ambushed by Ha-Tu Gu and his group of experts. The whole matter was a sinister plot, it was due to internal conflict in Chang tribe and a move to suppress Chang Shan-yin. In Fang Yuan's past life, after Chang Shan-yin was saved by Ma Hongyun, he did not return to his tribe but instead joined Ma Hongyun, it was also because of this reason. Later, after Chang Shan-yin helped Ma Hongyun ascend to the position of Lord of the Imperial Court, he targeted Chang tribe, getting rid of all the Chang tribe higher-ups. He then became Chang tribe leader and took revenge for what happened back then. Now, Fang Yuan was using this reason to deal with Yan tribe and persuade Gu Guang. Gu tribe originally had ties of friendship with Chang tribe. When old Gu tribe leader had first met Fang Yuan, he had said that his second daughter was married in Chang tribe. But after Gu Guang read the letter, he immediately made a decision to stand with Fang Yuan. Gu Guang, you have matured, Gu tribe will prosper under your rule. Fang Yuan lightly commented while sitting on a wolf, then waved his hand, you don't need to move in this battle. It will be enough for you guys to make a tight encirclement. Remember that every Yan tribe elder that we block means a higher chance of success when we attack Yan tribe camp. Yes, Junior shall listen to Wolf King's instruction. Gu Guang agreed and brought the group of Gu masters to outside the battlefield, forming an encirclement formation. Seeing Gu tribe Gu masters coming over to reinforce Fang Yuan, Yan tribe Gu masters were shocked and furious. Gu Guang, you despicable, shameless scoundrel. A Yan tribe elder shouted furiously. Gu tribe, you have made a wrong decision. Making our Yan tribe your enemy means you are going against young Master Lu Wenwu. None of you will have a good end. Another elder cursed. Gu Guang sneered, his heart filled with disdain. Bringing out Lu tribe's name when their death was imminent, was there any use? We cannot wait any longer, we need to charge and break through. Yan tribe elders realized the severity of the situation as they shouted with ashen expressions. Go! Yan tribesmen charged together, attempting to carve out a blood path. Pill Fire Gu, Gold Silkworm Gu, Frost Breath Gu, Snowball Gu, Tornado Gu, Thunderclap Gu, Fire Claw Gu and other Gu were activated one after another. Fire and snow continually shot out, Golden Silkworm turned into a light ray and charged, Blue Frost Breath was breathed out, Tornado caused havoc, thunder rumbled in all directions, flames formed into claws and attacked. Under this fierce assault from Yan tribe's Gu masters, Fang Yuan's wolf group suffered heavy injuries, but they moved forward unceasingly, coming waves after waves disregarding their death. These Gu masters might be experts among mortals, formed from rank 3 and rank 4, but so what? Fang Yuan maneuvered the wolf group while sitting on a wolf. He had Wolfman's soul, which made it a lot easier for him to maneuver these wolf group than when he had 100-man soul. It was as smooth as a wolf king personally commandeering them. Fang Yuan's expression did not change at the sight of the wolves dying like flies, he remained aloof and indifferent. These wolves were only ordinary wild beasts, if they died, then so be it, there was no heartache over it. Instead, using them as cannon fodder to wear down these Gu masters' primeval essence would be a great beneficial deal. The weakness of these Yan tribe Gu masters was their low numbers. Although they were experts, they lacked subordinates to share the pressure of the battlefield. The battle was already in Fang Yuan's control and was moving in his intended direction, they simply did not have time to calm down and recover their primeval essence. Terrifying, there is actually such a fearsome wolf manipulation skill in this world. A Yan tribe's elder said with ashen face. Could it be that we are going to die like this? The aura of death was already pouncing upon them. Chang Shanin, by killing us, are you not afraid young Master Lu Wenwu would take revenge? An elder was hoping to pressure Fang Yuan. Charge, don't stop. Yan Tianji shouted, his voice had already become hoarse and his primeval essence was less than half of his total amount. Chapter 473, Righteous Path Hero. It is time. Fang Yuan willed, as the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King brought over a dozen Night Wolf 1,000 Beast Kings and entered the battle, blocking the Yan tribe Gu masters. Under the wolf group's attacks, Yan tribe suffered their first death. Wolf Howl Gu. Fang Yuan howled at the sky, crying like a wolf as his voice spread far and wide, increasing the wolf group's battle strength. Wolf Smoke Gu. Immediately after, he emitted dense smoke that engulfed the battlefield, healing the wolves' injuries. Yan tribe were shocked. Water demon Hao Ji Lu's face became pale and white. Earlier, Fang Yuan merely dispatched his wolves, now that he joined in, he turned to advantage into a victory. Tens of hateful, frightened, furious, and icy gazes shot towards Fang Yuan. Under everyone's stare, Fang Yuan smiled lightly as he moved backwards with the hump wolf, pulling some distance from Yan tribe's gang. To prevent the beheading the leader tactic, Fang Yuan had many wolves around him, he even had a white-eyes wolf, although it had not matured yet, it still surpassed ordinary 100 wolf kings in terms of battle strength. Seeing Fang Yuan's movement, the trapped Gu masters felt their hearts sinking as their spirits dampened, they had a feeling of being captured by a demon, and had no way to escape. Time continued to pass, Yan tribe Gu masters seemed to have fallen into a swamp as they sank deeper as they struggled. Fang Yuan had used cannon fodder wolves earlier to expend their primeval essence, the effect was starting to show. Yan tribe elders died in battle one by one, as a sad and angry atmosphere took over the battlefield. Chang Shanin, I will not let you off even as a ghost. An elder screamed, cursing before his death. But this curse only made Fang Yuan scoff coldly in his heart. You have no chance to be a ghost, your soul will become fertilizer for Dang Hun Mountain. Wolf King, fight me alone if you dare. Yen Tribe's Battle Hall elder screamed. Come, you coward, you chicken. He tried to provoke Fang Yuan, using the last drop of his primeval essence to charge at Fang Yuan for the final time. Fang Yuan looked at him expressionlessly. As he willed, the wolves charged over like a wave and ripped the Battle Hall elder to shreds even before he got near. As the wolves dispersed, his broken corpse remained on the ground. His bones were showing as blood poured out, his furious eyes were staring wide towards the air. Battle Hall Elder. Yen Tianji growled, his body was trembling. With the sacrifice of each elder, an intense pain assaulted his heart every time, he was turning numb from the anguish. Chang Shan Yin, you will die a painful death. In spite of being a righteous hero, you actually assaulted your comrades. You will not have a good ending, young Master Lu Wenwu will take revenge for us. Yen Tianji's face was full of hatred, his expression twisting into an ugly sight. If it was possible, he would love to eat Fang Yuan's flesh and drink his blood. Humph, the curses of a loser is just like the whimpering of a dog before death. Entrusting your hopes of revenge to others, that is a weakling's mentality. Fang Yuan evaluated coldly before waving his hand, as the night wolf myriad beast king burst out like a dark lightning, sending Yen Tianji flying. Yen Tianji's primeval essence was expended. After this blow, almost all his bones were broken. He was like a kite with its strings cut, flying far away and drawing an arc of red blood in the air. When he landed, his entire body was smashed as he no longer breathed. Lord! Guguan led a band of elders as he hurried over. Wolf King is mighty. After this battle, Yen Tribe's higher-ups were all exterminated, there was only one rank 3 elder left in Yen Tribe camp. The letter Gu that Yen Tianji sent out was obstructed by us, Yen Tribe has no idea what just happened now. It is a good time to assault them. Gu Tribe's Battle Hall elder shouted. It is a pity that water demon Hao Ji Lu escaped, Lord Wolf King, do you think we should chase after water demon or take down Yen Tribe camp? Gu Guang asked. Fang Yuan smiled indifferently, of course we attack Yen Tribe camp. A clam Gu spun its body as it dived in Crescent Lake rapidly. Swoosh! The clam drilled out of the water surface as its shells opened, shoot out 2 people who were inside. They were a male and a female, the male was water demon Hao Ji Lu, and the female was Yen Tribe's big missy Yen Chui Air. Huff huff huff. Hao Ji Lu's breathed roughly as he looked behind with lingering fear. He only relaxed after seeing there was no one chasing him. This was a floating island on Crescent Lake. When Hao Ji Lu was scouting the area, he chose this as his third route to escape. Wolf King Chang Shan Yin. Hao Ji Lu muttered this name in his heart. Hatred, anguish, fear, and shock were flashing in his eyes as he showed a complex expression. Until now, he had never faced such a huge loss. With rank 4 upper stage cultivation, he could roam northern plains freely. But today, he met Fang Yuan and felt an unprecedented weakness, helplessness, and loneliness. This is the strength of an enslavement path Gu master. This is not even his peak condition. Back then, Chang Shan Yin could kill Ha Tu Gu who was a realm higher than him, and exterminate the entire group of bandits. How great was his strength back then? Hao Ji Lu thought about this as he felt difficulty in breathing. Fang Yuan's wolf manipulation skills made him think of Jiang Baoya, Yang Ping and Ma Zun. It seems that among the first-rate enslavement masters in northern plains, they would no longer be just 3 people, but it would be a contest among 4. Luckily, he did not have many water wolves with him, otherwise I would be dead meat today. Thinking of the dangerous scene when he escaped for his life, Hao Ji Lu felt a great fear. But why do I have the feeling that Chang Shan purposely gave me a way out? Hao Ji Lu was a vigilant person. When he recalled the scene, he felt a sense of suspicion. A pity that Yan tribe's higher-ups were all killed by Chang Shan. I can no longer extort them. But forget about that, I have already obtained backwater battle Gu. This trip was a success. Now, I should follow my original plan and escort this Yan tribe Missy to young Master He Lulan, as a gift. Thinking so, Hao Ji Lu's eyes shone with brilliance. The 10-year blizzard of northern plains, it was a huge challenge even for lone traveling demonic Gu masters. But with the lack of resources, Hao Ji Lu wanted to use the Heroes' Assembly to join a certain force. If he was lucky enough to enter the imperial court, not only will Hao Ji Lu keep his life, his cultivation would even go a step further. There were a few favorite candidates in this contest to be the lord of the imperial court. Hao Ji Lu thought about it and decided to bet on the most popular person, young Master He Lulan. He Lulan's lecherous nature was known to all. If Hao Ji Lu gave Yan Cui heir to him, he would be handsomely rewarded. Yan Cui heir was not only beautiful like a flower, she also had a special identity, the fiancée of young Master Lu Wenwu. And Lu Wenwu was one of He Lulan's fiercest competitors in this contest for the imperial court. Making your archenemy's fiancée part of your harem, this was an irresistible temptation to He Lulan. If Yan tribe was still around, this gift would be extremely importantly. Unfortunately, after Wolf King killed Yan tribe's higher-ups, he would definitely deal with Yan tribe. Thinking of this, Hao Ji Lu gave a mocking gaze at the dazed Yan Cui heir, whistling. He made fun of her, "Little beauty, you have to thank me. If I did not save you, you would have died in the hands of Chang Shan." Yan Cui heir's thick brows moved as she seemed to have woken up from a nightmare. "What do you mean?" "Humph, what meaning is there? Chang Shan killed your father and all the elders with him. He will definitely take over Yan tribe. The wolf group must be on their way to Yan tribe camp already. He, you were a young missy, but now, you're going to be alone soon." "No, no way." Yan Cui heir shook her head, her expression was pale. She tried her best to deny it, but her logic told her that Hao Ji Lu's conjecture was accurate. Chang Shan is a great righteous hero, how could he do something like this? She refused to face such a cruel reality, her tears fell like pearls as they flowed down her cheeks, onto the ground. The crying of a beauty, the weeping of a lady, it was a painful scene. Righteous hero? Hao Ji Lu sneered, "Sometimes, righteous heroes are more terrifying than us demonic path cultivators. I only kidnapped you and extorted your tribe, but when Chang Shan strikes, he would destroy and devour your tribe. The worst thing is, he has a proper reason to do so, claiming he is taking revenge, he is the ultimate victor. Once Yan tribe is gone, who can rebuke him? Humph, this is the truth of this dog's hit world." Yan Cui heir was in shock as she listened. Suddenly she kneeled on the ground as she grabbed Hao Ji Lu's pants, begging, please save my Yan tribe. My father's letter Gu were all blocked, Yan tribe is without a leader now, and have no clue what is coming, they don't know the danger waiting for them. The world was wondrous and cruel, Yan Cui heir had never thought that one day, she would kneel down on the ground and beg the enemy she had hated the most. My father is dead, I am Yan tribe's next leader. Hao Ji Lu, help me, send a letter for me and inform them. As long as Yan tribe remains, I am Yan tribe leader, I can decide on this and make you Yan tribe's external elder, all of our resources will be yours to use. Yan Cui heir gave her side of the deal. The words made water demon Hao Ji Lu's heart jump, external elder. Yan tribe's resources. It was a good suggestion. But when Feng Yuan's figure appeared in Hao Ji Lu's mind, he shuddered. Humph, you dare to tempt me? His expression changed as he gave Yan Cui heir a tight slap. Yan Cui heir grabbed her face as her tears fell, completely stunned by this as she looked at Hao Ji Lu blankly. Don't worry, I have already found a good partner for you. He he he. How Ji Lu laughed as he grabbed Yan Chui air, tossing her into the clam goo. The large clam's shells closed, as Hao Ji Lu stepped on the water surface, giving the shore one last look. N. The Epsilon LB N, where every word sparks wonder. At Yen tribe camp's position, there were huge fires as smoke rose into the air. Yen tribe is finished. Hao Ji Lu was gloating, but he also felt a chill in his heart. This world worked on the survival of the fittest. There is one mountain higher than a mountain, and a person stronger than another person. Yen tribe was a huge force to him, but to Chang Shan Yin, it was just a plump juicy meat. In the following competition for the imperial court, Northern Plains will definitely be shook as heroes and conquerors arise. I wonder how many people will lose their lives. Hao Ji Lu sighed and exclaimed as he traveled west on the large clam. Chapter 474, Surrender. In the fire of war that spread everywhere, the wolf group surged forward with craze. The attack on Yen tribe camp had already lasted for 4 hours. Yen tribe's Gu masters were experts at defense, but because of the successful ambush and there being no leader, the Yen tribe camp was already ruined beyond recognition by now. There were broken walls everywhere along with human and wolf corpses. Brothers, hold on, we need to hold on. In the center of the camp, the remaining forces of Yen tribe stubbornly resisted. However, the wolf group surged forward with no end, and the whole defense line was already on the verge of collapse. Kill these invaders. Despicable Gu tribe, I curse your entire clan to perish. Besides these curses, there were also the weeping of the old and feeble, the women and the children. Seeing their family and friends behind them, the already exhausted Yen tribesmen squeezed out every bit of strength they could muster. In their hearts, a thought kept them going, telling them to hold up their defense, that they must defend. Behind them were their wives, children and their parents. If they could not resist, then all their relatives would end up in the wolves' mouths. Suddenly, 1,000 Wolf King broke through the battle line and charged into the depths of the formation. No! Careful! Get away! The Gu masters at the front line roared with fury in their eyes, but it was already too late for them to rescue anyone. They could only stare as the 1,000 Wolf King opened its bloody mouth and started slaughtering the old, feeble, women and children. Bastard, you are looking for death. At this time, a seriously injured Gu master who was lying on the ground with just one hand and one leg remaining, jumped up with a strength that God knew where it came from and threw himself into the wolf's mouth. The 1,000 Wolf King bit his waist and almost severed him into two. The Gu master foamed from his mouth, and gave a desperate yet satisfied smile. He fiercely clenched the wolf's head and roared, "Evil beast, die with me." With that, he self-destructed, blood splashed everywhere and the 1,000 Beast King also died with him. The encircling Gu tribesmen all saw this scene. Someone sighed, "Yen tribe's sons are so brave." Fong Yuan lightly nodded. Although Yen tribe did not show initiative, they were experts at defense and were extremely united. In this invasion, the number of wolves that died were truly beyond his original estimation. However, Fong Yuan did not feel any pain and snorted, "What is the use even if they were to be more brave? Those defeated usually have no hope of reprieve. This is the cruelty of the struggle for imperial court. Okay, this is enough, go ask them to surrender." These words caused the Gu tribe's Gu masters to feel a chill. If they were ever to be defeated, their tribe would be at the same state as the Yen tribe before them. However, when their gaze landed on Fong Yuan, their heart relaxed. With the Wolf King beside us, our Gu tribe has a great tree to lean on. We still need to rely on the Wolf King to lead us. The intense and fierce battlefield gradually quietened. The wolf group stopped their offense and slowly retreated, opening up a path. A Gu tribe elder moved through the path and appeared before Yen tribesmen. "Yen tribesmen, surrender. The Gu tribe elder shouted loudly, Northern Plains elites are those who can adapt to circumstances. Bullshit. I shall never surrender to you shameless sneak attackers. Come, just cut my head off. Yen tribe's descendants would rather die than surrender. Some Gu masters roared furiously, but there were also some whose gaze loosened and showed hesitation. The Gu tribe elder sneered, if you don't surrender, we won't lose anything in killing you all. But shouldn't you consider your wives and children behind you? They will die a cruel death just because of your stubborn resistance. You will be the ones who harmed them. These words caused the Yen tribe's remnant forces to quieten. The chilly wind blew across everyone's faces. Those Yen tribe's Gu masters who had been roaring furiously had a sluggish expression now. They looked back and their expressions turned soft. Only the Yen tribe elder felt extreme hatred towards Gu tribe's psychological tactics when he sensed everyone's fighting spirit crumbling. However, this discontent, when it reached his mouth, turned into a sigh. Under everyone's gazes, he walked forward and said forcibly, our Yen tribe surrenders. Lord! Lord Elder! Yen tribe's Gu masters shouted one after another, some couldn't believe it, some wept with grief and some felt relieved. At the same time, Gu tribe's Gu masters also rejoiced. Victory, victory! The situation is set, we have annexed Yen tribe. They were both at the same place, but their situation was as different as cloud was from mud. Gather the troops and clean up the battlefield. Gu Guang also had a joy he could hardly contain on his face. Considering their strength, Gu tribe was below Yen tribe, but they were able to swallow this big force in one move. As long as we digest these war spoils, our Gu tribe's strength will increase by 3 times, even surpassing the strength we had back at Hongyan Valley. This is all thanks to Lord Changshan Yin. Gu Guang could not help looking at Fang Yuan when he thought of this. Truthfully, Gu Guang had hesitated when he received Fang Yuan's letter. But this hesitation was only for an instant before it turned into resolution. The fact had proved his choice was a correct one. If I had refused the Wolf King back then, I'm afraid our Gu tribe would have had the same ending as the Yen tribe. Gu Guang's reverence towards Fang Yuan deepened by another level. Fang Yuan sized up the whole Yen tribe camp from above the hump wolf. There were broken debris everywhere, fire still lingered, corpses littered the place and blood dyed the ground red. All the Yen tribesmen who were hiding were searched and arrested. Yen tribe's Gu masters were tied with manacles and leg irons, their Gu worms seized and their primeval essence locked as they were taken as captives and were strictly watched. Fang Yuan's expression was tranquil, he had seen such situations many times. In the great battle of 5 regions in his previous life, the situation had been much more bitter and terrifying than this. Yen tribe is annihilated, next is the heroes' assembly. Before this, I need to return to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. I also need to go to Langya Blessed Land once, if my luck is good. 3 days later, it was a night where many stars filled the sky. Fang Yuan led the wolf group and came upon a remote area. He first used moving perspective cup Gu to communicate with little Hu Immortal, then used Stargate Gu to return back to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. This time, thousands of wolves entered with him. These wolves were either injured or old with weak battle strength. Ordinary enslavement path Gu master's only choice, in this case, would be to sacrifice them as cannon fodder in battle to stop them from consuming more rations. However, Fang Yuan possessed a blessed land and thus had a better option. That was to breed them. These wild wolves can reproduce at the blessed land and several months later, they should be able to give birth to wolf cubs. Fang Yuan moved this wolf group to the western part of the blessed land. In this world, the wild beasts' ability to reproduce were very strong, adding on to the Hu Immortal Blessed Land's 6 times faster time flow than northern plains. Fang Yuan's troops would from now on be self-replenished. With this, Hu Immortal Blessed Land's western part became the wolf group's farming land, the northern part was almost completely cut off by Fang Yuan, eastern part was covered with dark clouds along with tens of lakes which filled the air with moisture, and the southern part was the Stoneman's homeland. In the center was Dang Hun Mountain which was gradually dying after being struck by Gruel Mud Gu. Master, Master, I have already settled down the starlight worms according to your instructions. Come take a look. Little Hu Immortal was extremely happy at seeing Fang Yuan again, and dragged Fang Yuan to the eastern part of the Blessed Land. Master, look up. Little Hu Immortal said with a delicate voice. Fang Yuan looked up at the sky, and saw a large expanse of light blue color clouds. Threads of starlight shone down like a dreamy gauze and shook gently with the breeze. The scene was very beautiful as if it was carved out of a painting. Fang Yuan looked carefully and discovered these clouds were not originally blue color, but rather a large number of star fragment grass were planted on them. Star fragment grass were deep blue in color, and starlight fireflies fluttered among the grass, shining with specks of light. Moreover, among the starlight fireflies were starlight firefly Gu that blossomed with true starlight radiance. Not bad. Fang Yuan evaluated. Little Hu Immortal immediately squinted her eyes in happiness, rubbing her small head against Fang Yuan's hand and said with her delicate voice, Master, pat me. Fang Yuan lightly smiled and rubbed Little Hu Immortal's head. This chapter was first shared on the Novero LSS1N platform. Little Hu Immortal's long snowy tail immediately curled, the two furry ears on her head also lowered gently and her face reddened in happiness. Fang Yuan had bought many star fragment grass from Treasure Yellow Heaven. However, the grass was extremely peculiar and could not be planted on any mortal soil, only on clouds. When they had transacted, Fairy Yao Guang had suggested Fang Yuan to buy cloud soil to raise star fragment grass. But Fang Yuan did not take her suggestion because there were enormous scale of dark clouds in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. These dark clouds were created from the water and fire collision, when Fang Yuan eradicated the earthly calamities effects. The dark clouds did not dissipate and covered the eastern part of Hu Immortal Blessed Land, and was a problem that was neither big nor small. It had been obstructing light for a long time and was affecting the whole eastern part's ecology. However, now, Fang Yuan used it to plant star fragment grass and turned this calamity into fortune. Not only was it making use of trash, but it also saved Fang Yuan a lot of expenses in buying large amounts of cloud soil. At present, large plots of star fragment grass were already growing on the dark clouds. The starlight firefly worms lived among them, filling the whole eastern land with beautiful starlight. As long as I properly cultivate these star fragment grass, there will be guarantee in the reproduction of the starlight firefly worms. In future, there will be much more starlight firefly Gu to use. If the cultivation raises to an optimum level and there is a surplus of starlight firefly Gu, I can put them at Treasure Yellow Heaven to sell. In the Battle of 5 Great Regions, starlight firefly worms will be one of the Gu worms with most demand. Fang Yuan slightly looked forward to the beautiful future, before returning to Dang Hun Mountain with Little Hu Immortal. Standing at the peak of the mountain, he grabbed the soul burial toad Gu. When he besieged Yen tribe's higher-ups and during the whole process of attacking Yen tribe camp, he had been using the soul burial toad to collect the souls on the battlefield. He released all the souls from the soul burial toad. These pitiful souls had just exited when they were shaken up by the mystical power of Dang Hun Mountain, and were turned into the purest nutrient, nourishing the whole Dang Hun Mountain. Tomorrow, Dang Hun Mountain will again be filled with guts Gu. Fang Yuan nodded his head with satisfaction. Gathering large numbers of souls was one of the reasons why he killed Yen tribe. Tonight, it is time for me to break through to rank 5. Fang Yuan's cultivation did not receive any suppression when he got back to Hu Immortal Blessed Land, he was at true rank 4 peak stage. He had already stayed at rank 4 peak stage for a long time. And with his current A-grade aptitude, it was time to challenge the boundaries of Rank 5 realm. Chapter 475, Soaring Cultivation. Rumble. The 90% primeval sea in the aperture surged with high waves, and true gold primeval essence shone brightly on the aperture walls. The aperture walls were also extraordinary, sparkling and clear like crystals, containing life force in them. This was the crystal membrane of Rank 4 peak stage realm. Waves continually surged, reaching towards the sky. Then, they crashed towards the crystal membrane wave after waves. At first, the crystal membrane was like the reef of a sea, being unmovable. But it gradually became unable to endure the fierce waves and cracks started appearing. As time passed, bigger cracks appeared. The primeval sea slowly reduced, while the crystal membrane was full of cracks and appeared extremely fragile. However, there was still a little distance left from breakthrough. Fang Yuan was sitting cross-legged on the bed with both his eyes closed, and almost all his attention was on the aperture. He possessed 90% aptitude, which was classified as a grade, and also had very deep accumulation. He could break through to Rank 5 realm just by relying on his own strength. Right now, there was about 20% left of the primeval sea. The sea waves had also weakened and was getting to the point of being tranquil. But suddenly, as if it was accumulating its strength, a huge wave erupted out of the true gold primeval sea. This wave was fierce and majestic, surpassing any of the waves from before. It was like a tsunami, soaring up and then fiercely smashing towards the aperture walls. Boom! A soft sound echoed, and the aperture walls were finally unable to bear the pressure. They were smashed into pieces by this enormous wave. The shattered fragments of the crystal aperture walls were like a broken ice mountain, and as they fell into the sea they turned into pure essence before slowly melting down. After a while, the fragments on the crystal walls had all fallen down, leaving behind a light membrane that covered everything. The light membrane was dazzling with very powerful aura, far surpassing the Rank 4 peak stage crystal wall. This was the appearance of a true Rank 5 initial stage. Following it, a trace of light purple primeval essence appeared in the depths of the sea. Rank 1 Gu Masters had green copper primeval essence, Rank 2 had red iron primeval essence, Rank 3 had white silver primeval essence, Rank 4 had yellow gold primeval essence, and Rank 5 was purple crystal primeval essence. Although it was only a thread of light purple, it was a qualitative difference. From now on, Fang Yuan's primeval essence would be light purple primeval essence. Since my rebirth, I have wandered around everywhere, drifting miserably. Yet now I am finally a Rank 5 Gu Master. Inside Dang Hun Palace, Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes and sighed with joy. Rank 5 Gu Masters were the lords in this mortal world, the true peak stage. Those who could cultivate to this stage were not even 1 in 10,000. If it were others, they might have already become wild with joy. However, Fang Yuan had already experienced this in his previous life. Right now, rather than ecstasy, what he felt was joy towards his future prospects. Compared to my previous life, being able to enter Rank 5 at such a young age is truly a success. Fang Yuan was only 30 and so at present, cultivating to Rank 5 at this age was a performance that would only be seen in the absolute top geniuses of the 5 great regions. But Rank 5 is not my end point, it is only a starting point. Next, I need to once again advance to Gu Immortal. Those genius Gu Masters would feel some hesitation when they talked about charging to Gu Immortal realm. However, Fang Yuan had his previous life's experiences, thus he had plenty of confidence in advancing to Gu Immortal realm. After becoming a Gu Immortal, the deadly crisis from Spring-Autumn Cicada can be completely resolved. Fang Yuan looked at Spring-Autumn Cicada. Since this rebirth, Spring-Autumn Cicada had fallen into deep hibernation, continually absorbing the water from River of Time and recuperating. Right now, it had already mostly recovered and a faint pressure was filling Fang Yuan's aperture. For a long time now, spring-autumn cicada was like a guillotine hovering above Fang Yuan's neck. As time passed, this enormous guillotine would move closer towards his neck. Spring-autumn cicada gave Fang Yuan an enormous death threat, forcing him to risk dangers and do everything he could to advance his cultivation. Only by reaching the rank 6 Gu immortal realm, could Fang Yuan's aperture be able to store spring-autumn cicada. At that time, Fang Yuan would have more freedom and leisure, and not be so repressed like now. Light purple primeval essence continually appeared in the aperture, settling down below the remaining gold primeval essence. Fang Yuan gathered his concentration and slowly stood up, walking out of this secret room and into another room. There were several large vats in this room. There was green liquid in the vats and a purple crystal relic Gu was floating on each liquid. There were 6 purple crystal relic Gu. Most of them had been purchased by Fang Yuan or Little Hu Immortal from Treasure Yellow Heaven. Purple crystal relic Gu could raise a rank 5 Gu master's cultivation. Fang Yuan had paid a considerable price for them. Fang Yuan only required 3 purple crystal relic Gu to raise his cultivation to the peak stage. But right now, he looked at the vats with various liquids. One vat had muddy green liquid, another had a mixture of green and yellow, and the purple crystal relic Gu on 2 of the vats had tiny purple-black hair growing out of them. The remaining 2 vats had clear green liquid with no change. Fang Yuan snorted, most of these 6 purple crystal relic Gu had been tampered with. With his 500 years of experience, Fang Yuan was able to conjecture something wrong with these relic Gu. Among the purple crystal relic Gu in these 6 vats of green liquid, only 2 could be used. Fang Yuan immediately took out the 2 purple crystal relic Gu from the clear green liquid and used them. Using 2 relic Gu, Fang Yuan's cultivation immediately rose to rank 5 upper stage realm. Fang Yuan again took out 2 purple crystal relic Gu whose bodies were filled with tiny hairs, and repeatedly used them. The 2 relic Gu's strength combined and was able to raise his cultivation to rank 5 peak stage. In a short period of time, Fang Yuan advanced from rank 5 initial stage to rank 5 peak stage, completing an enormous jump. Moreover, relic Gu had no side effects and would not cause his foundation to weaken. Gu Master's cultivation was extremely focused on resources. As long as there were enough resources, cultivation could make rapid progress. Theoretically, as long as one had sufficient relic Gu, a Gu Master's cultivation could advance in a lightning speed. But in reality, extremely few Gu Masters did this. One reason was that relic Gu could only raise a Gu Master's cultivation by a small realm. Every great realm required the Gu Masters to break through by themselves. It was extremely easy to raise cultivation with enough relic Gu, but this would instead cause normal Gu Masters to be reliant on them, and breaking through a great realm would become much harder. Second, higher realm did not represent everything. To survive in this cruel world, one still needed planning, wisdom, opportunity, experience and training. A sudden increase in strength without the knowledge to control it was like an infant brandishing a broadsword, they could injure somebody and injure themselves. Third, relic Gu were extremely expensive, few Gu Masters could enjoy advancing so lavishly. Even if a Gu Immortal's descendants could enjoy such treatment, their elders would not allow them to be so spoiled. Finally, there was an even more important point, and that was aptitude. Without good aptitude, relic Gu would have no use even if there were more of it. Fang Yuan could smoothly advance to rank 5 because of his experience and also the great help from a great aptitude. Fang Yuan might be the only one who could use relic Gu like this repeatedly to sharply raise his cultivation. If it were other rank 5 Gu Masters, even if they were geniuses from the Shang House clan, they would still have to follow the prescribed order. After all, a Gu Master's cultivation still required long training of Gu worms. High cultivation could not directly indicate the battle strength, it was no more than making oneself look like a fat target. Previous life experiences were Fang Yuan's great wealth that allowed him to smoothly control this burst of strength. Unknowingly, a night had already passed while dashing through the cultivation levels. Fang Yuan walked out of Dang Han Palace and onto Dang Han Mountain. Just like he expected, many Guts Gu had grown on the mountain rocks. He walked a few steps and crouched, casually kneading one, but it was only a pile of yellow mud. Even since Dang Hun Mountain was struck by immortal Gu gruel mud, it gradually began to die and a part of the Guts Gu created on it would become yellow paste. Fang Yuan's expression did not change as he had already expected this. He again pinched 7 to 8 Guts Gu. But in this process, he only got 2 good Guts Gu. Using their strength, his wolfman soul slightly strengthened once more. The immortal Gu gruel mud's strength has already invaded deep. I remember that 4 to 5 Guts Gu would be intact out of 10. Now, only 3 or 4 are good. Fang Yuan sighed. Although these yellow mud were all gruel mud and could be sold at Treasure Yellow Heaven, but compared to the Guts Gu, the difference in worth was as different as night and day, and was an enormous loss. Fortunately, all these Guts Gu belonged to Fang Yuan alone. N. The Epsilon Lb N, a haven for bookworms and dreamers. Although 6 or 7 out of 10 Guts Gu were useless, with their enormous numbers it was still enough for Fang Yuan's soul to progress greatly. Now, I am at rank 5 peak stage, and the next step would be to attack the Gu immortal realm. But this matter is quite difficult and I need many preparations and attempt it slowly. Fang Yuan inwardly planned. With rank 5 peak stage aperture, spring-autumn Cicada's pressure had greatly resolved. The urgent matter was to rescue Dang Hun Mountain. Though Dang Hun Mountain was dying, saving it would be a great help to Fang Yuan's future cultivation, even after he advanced to Gu immortal realm. After completely cleaning off all the Guts Gu on the mountain, Fang Yuan entered Dang Hun Palace again and collaborated with Little Hu Immortal to activate Connecting Heaven Gu. Wave after waves of divine sense were mutually tangling up in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Just after they opened Connecting Heaven Gu, a large divine sense rushed was transmitted to Little Hu Immortal, asking about the price of gruel mud. Fang Yuan had sold great amounts of gruel mud and this attracted many Gu immortals' interest. Using these gruel mud for the immortal Gu recipe, one could refine the immortal Gu gruel mud. Although this Gu could only be used once, it was a genuine immortal Gu. In this environment where immortal Gu were scarce, Gu immortals scrabbled madly for Fang Yuan's gruel mud. As for these gruel mud, Fang Yuan's price was immortal Gu gruel mud's recipe. Originally, these Gu immortals brought incomparably damaged remnant recipes that did not have even 10 feet of treasure light. But after a few days, the recipes these Gu immortals brought out had already reached a treasure light of 30 to 40 feet. Fang Yuan still kept on disregarding them. He had large amounts of gruel mud to sell. In fact, none of the gruel mud recipes that appeared nowadays could satisfy him. Chapter 476, Air Bubble Fish. Connecting Heaven Gu inlaid itself in the air, figures of wolves flashed past one after another in the mirror. Suddenly, the scene fixed itself on a turtleback myriad wolf king. Turtleback wolves possessed broad physique, their whole body was dark green and they had dark blue eyes. Every turtleback wolf had shell like that of a turtle. This shell was very heavy and about 1/3 of a turtleback wolf's weight was due to it. Apart from defensive purpose, it could also store nutrition just like camels. This species had the strongest defense among the wolves. And the myriad beast wolf king that showed on Connecting Heaven Gu was no doubt even more enormous, being 10 times larger than ordinary turtleback wolves. Its turtleback was towering high, the strong shell shone with bronze color, giving a feeling of abundant strength and power. The scale of the wolf group I have is close to 30,000. They can mainly be divided into 3 wolf groups: turtleback wolves, night wolves and wind wolves. There are around 10,000 wolves in each group. Besides them, there are also few poison beard wolves which were obtained from the poisonous grassland. There are also over 100 water wolves which I bought because of White Eyes Wolf. Originally, Fang Yuan had over 30,000 wolves. But after several battles, the loss accumulated and now he only had around 27,000. After he sent the old, weak and injured wolves sent to Hu Immortal Blessed Land, the number of wolves left was less than 25,000. Thus, they needed to be replenished. If ordinary enslavement path Gu masters wanted to replenish their beast group, they would need to organize a group to hunt, requiring much effort and time, moreover they could not take in too big of a beast group. Fang Yuan, however, after possessing connecting heaven Gu, was like standing on a Gu immortal's shoulder. He had one more option than ordinary Gu masters, that is to purchase the beast groups in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Most blessed lands would breed wild beasts. However, when the beast population increased a lot, they would influence the ecology of the blessed lands, and the Gu immortals that controlled the blessed lands would put them for sale in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Like this, not only could it reduce the pressure on the blessed land, it could also provide some revenue. Similarly, many Gu immortals who wanted to nurture the blessed land and replenish the ecology, would purchase some beasts to breed in their blessed lands. Thus, transactions of beast groups was extremely common in Treasure Yellow Heaven. There were many dazzling lineups of wolf groups put for sale in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Northern Plains Night Wolves, Wind Wolves, Water Wolves, Poison Beard Wolves, Turtleback Wolves, Southern Borders Lightning Wolves, Azure Wolves, Blood Wolves, Two-Headed Wolves, Western Desert Silk Wolves, Pearl Wolves, Sand Wolves, Tyrant Wolves, Eastern Seas Ink Wolves, Greed Wolves, Red Wolves, Goldback Wolves, Central Continent's White Eyes Wolves, Star Wolves, Color Wolves, Blood Wolves. The wolves put for sale were not only common wild beasts, but also mutated beasts like White Eyes Wolves, Tyrant Wolves and Greed Wolves. Of course, there were no desolate beast-level wolves which had battle strength comparable to Gu immortals. But Fang Yuan knew there was a desolate beast peach wolf in Langya Blessed Land. Among the three greatest wolf groups I have, only Night Wolf group has a myriad beast king. If my wind wolves and turtleback wolves also had myriad beast kings to unite them, I would not need to control the 100 wolf kings and 1,000 wolf kings. It will greatly reduce the burden when I command them. By reducing the burden on my soul, I can then take in even more wolf groups. Fang Yuan did not intend to replace the wolf groups, that would be a superfluous move. He decided to strengthen the wolf group on him. Little Hu Immortal sent the divine sense for him and inquired the price of this turtleback myriad wolf king. The Gu Immortal who put it for sale called himself South Sea Turtle Immortal. He wanted 10,000 stalks of blowpipe grass. Blowpipe grass was the specialty of northern plains. Every grass looked like an erect long pipe. When wind blew, the wind would enter the small holes on the grass and produce pleasant pipe sounds. Blowpipe grass was a common material used in Gu refinement. At the same time, a large expanse of blowpipe grass would slowly give birth to some sound path and would path Gu worms. Fang Yuan did not have any blowpipe grass, and although he knew their location, this season was not the time for them to grow and they were all just seeds buried under the earth. Fang Yuan knew this situation, but did not give up and made Little Hu Immortal ask and see if he accepts immortal essence stones. Little Hu Immortal conveyed with her divine sense and after communicating for a moment, she reported, "Master, he says he can sell 20,000 turtleback wolves, but he is asking for 2 immortal essence stones." Fang Yuan scoffed, this was a very expensive price. Immortal essence stones were very precious. Turtleback wolves were no more than ordinary wild beasts, but transactions required the process of bargaining. After some haggling, Fang Yuan used an immortal essence stones to buy 30,000 turtleback wolves and 1 turtleback myriad wolf king from South Sea Turtle Immortal. After the transaction was finished, Fang Yuan bought another 18,000 wind wolves and 1 wind wolf myriad beast king. He replenished 20,000 night wolves. 5,000 poison beard wolves and 6,000 water wolves. Altogether, he spent 2.5 immortal essence stones. It was not over yet. The wolf groups entered Hu immortal blessed land, bringing a grim ordeal to the original ecology and causing many effects. To say the least, Fang Yuan needed to provide enough food to these wolf groups, otherwise these wolves would starve to death because of insufficient food. Hu immortal blessed land also had many wild beasts like rabbits, pheasants, and so on. But these animals were the food sources of fox groups. Hu immortal had cultivated large numbers of foxes in the blessed land. There were red foxes, gold foxes, cloud foxes, wind foxes, autumn water foxes, flowing light foxes and so on. These fox groups had suffered disastrous damage in the sixth earthly calamity, but a number were still preserved. After many years of recuperation, they would also gradually grow into a large scale and recover some of their strength. If there were insufficient food, the wolf groups and fox groups were bound to hunt each other and create an extremely severe internal friction. The losses would be more than profits. N. V epsilon lb n, unleashing imagination, one red at a time. Fang Yuan bought food for these fox groups and wolf groups. Golden koi, blue jade carp, fat mudfish, which would be good. There are actually fish rows of air bubble fish. Just as Fang Yuan was about to choose one, he accidentally discovered a Gu immortal was selling fish rows of air bubble fish. He immediately decided to buy it. However, air bubble fish's fish rows had attracted some Gu immortals' attention, causing there to be a price competition. Fang Yuan made prompt decision and raised the price to 1 immortal essence stone. There are just over 20,000 fish rows, someone is actually paying 1 immortal essence stone. This person is mad. Even if they are bred, there would only be around 3,000 air bubble fish. Although they are precious, but they are only worth less than 1 immortal essence stone. Gu immortals transmitted divine sense containing their ridicule and contempt. Air bubble fish were difficult to incubate, with only around 30% chance of survival rate. To them, the price Fang Yuan was paying was too high. If my memory is not wrong, 2 Gu immortals would fight over the air bubble sea at the end of this year. The intense poison would invade into the whole air bubble sea and turn it into a death zone. At that time, air bubble fish's price would sharply rise to over 10 folds. Fang Yuan sneered after obtaining these fish rows. Those able to become Gu immortals were no doubt giants among men and great geniuses. Excluding some ignorant and incompetent second-generation immortals, most of the Gu immortals were those with great experiences and wisdom. If Fang Yuan had not started out with such a high price, it would be extremely difficult for him to get these fish rows. In future, when the Battle of 5 Regions break out, this air bubble fish's price would increase to 100-folds of now. Air bubble fish were the specialty of Eastern Sea. They were quite peculiar with translucent and round belly, like a round and glossy air bubble. 2 dark sesame seeds seemed to be sewed in front of the air bubble, they were its eyes. The fins and tail were very small, giving it very weak movement power. Air bubble fish were different from other fishes. Its movement style was to move by rising and falling. When they were in danger, they would often float out of the surface of the water to the air, to hide from their enemies. Some mature air bubble fish could even keep staying at the air throughout the year without needing to enter the water, eating the tiny insects in the air as their food. The greatest use of the air bubble fish was to increase the production of Gu worms. The worms air bubble fish devoured would be protected and nourished in its belly, gradually evolving into a Gu, then they would pierce out of the belly and fly away. Because it could increase the rate of Gu worms creation, air bubble fish became a product sought out by all Gu immortals during the Battle of the 5 Regions. These air bubble fish needs to be slowly raised, although they only have 30% survival rate, they just need to be carefully tended to. Dozens of years later, they would reach a scale where they can be self-sufficient. 100 years later they would reach at least 50,000 in numbers. And same as Starlight Firefly Gu, it will be a highly demanded good in the Battle of 5 Regions. The fish rows of air bubble fish were an unexpected harvest, and could be considered a small pleasant surprise. With air bubble fish, I can't choose fat mudfish. Although fat mudfish are the easiest to raise, but they will eat the fish rows of air bubble fish, they can even eat mud to fill their stomach when they are hungry. Comparatively speaking, between gold koi and blue jade carps, one eats gold as food and another eats gemstones. Both have no interest towards the fish rows of air bubble fish. Fang Yuan did not lack gold and gemstones because there was a large group of rock men in who immortal blessed land. These rock men lived underground and ate soil as their food. After a long time, all kinds of gold, gemstones and so on would form on their body. However, gold has a harmful influence on the reproduction of air bubble fish and can decrease the reproduction rate. The mild gemstones, however, have no such disadvantages, so I shall choose blue jade carps. Fang Yuan pondered and finally decided upon the fish species. In his previous life of 500 years, he had also managed a blessed land. And because of many setbacks he had experienced then, he could now make the most sensible choices. After obtaining blue jade carps, the water wolves' food problem was solved. Fang Yuan then bought a large numbers of pink rabbit and iron shell flowers as food for night wolves, wind wolves and turtleback wolves. And because of poison beard wolves, Fang Yuan also chose some earth skin pigs. These pigs had a high reproduction rate and could eat both meat and grass. They were also put in the eastern part of the blessed land. Finally, Fang Yuan bought many gu worms and large numbers of gu refinement materials. He spent altogether 8 immortal essence stones and hundreds of thousands of primeval stones. At once, 8 immortal essence stones have been spent. Fang Yuan would not feel any heartache at common primeval stones, but he still cared about immortal essence stones. Previously, he had sold many remnant recipes and obtained 28 immortal essence stones, now only 20 remained. I can still sell the remnant recipes with me, but the more they are sold, the cheaper they will get. I lack means for getting profits. As for the investment in air bubble fish and starlight firefly gu, they would only show results after 100 years. I need to use these remaining immortal essence stones carefully. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh. He handed connecting heaven gu to Little Hu Immortal and let her be in charge of dealing with the residents and various other works regarding wolf groups, fish groups, iron shell flowers, and air bubble fish rows. Fang Yuan entered Dang Hun Palace and used the materials he bought to refine gu. Chapter 477, Rank 5 Breath Concealment Gu. After 1 day and 1 night, Fang Yuan walked out of Dang Hun Palace with an exhausted expression. He came to Dang Hun Mountain. Many guts gu had been created again during this period of time. But the quantity was half of the first time. Fang Yuan pinched some of them, most were of no use because of immortal gu gruel mud's powers. But Fang Yuan had slaughtered Yen tribe. After collecting many souls, there were lot of guts gu. Relying on this enormous number, Fang Yuan's soul managed to advance by a lot. My current soul strength is over 5 times stronger than before. Unfortunately, there is still a large gap to 1,000-man soul. Fang Yuan closed his eyes for a while before opening them again with a slightly happy expression. This progress was quite big. If it were normal gu masters, they would require 10 years or more to accumulate such results. But because of Guts Gu's help, Fang Yuan could easily accomplish this feat in less than half a day. No wonder Dang Hun Mountain was called one of the sacred lands of Soul Path by Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. Among the things in my possession, Dang Hun Mountain's value is only lower to Spring Autumn Cicada. No matter what, I can't let it die. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable had once commented that Soul Path Gu Masters had 2 great sacred lands in this world. One was Dang Hun Mountain to strengthen the soul, another was Luo Pa Valley to refine soul. Soul needed to be strengthened and also required to be refined. Fang Yuan used Guts Gu to rapidly strengthen his soul. But he did not have Luo Pavali to refine his soul, thus he could only use Wolf Soul Gu instead. Wolf Soul Gu could transform a Gu master's soul into Wolfman soul, having the effect of refining soul. Guts Gu's production continued to drop. By the third time, Fang Yuan only used 1 hour to pluck them all. Most of the Guts Gu had become mud paste, and relying on the small portion of intact Guts Gu, Fang Yuan strengthened his soul to 6 times. Little Hu Immortal was busy with her work. The Stargate Gu was once again activated and Fang Yuan returned to Northern Plains. The moment he stepped out of the Stargate, Fang Yuan's first sight was the loyal guarding wolf group that surrounded the area. The Stargate was connected to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Fang Yuan sent poison beard wolves and water wolves to the Blessed Land while bringing Wind Wolf Myriad Wolf King and Turtleback Myriad Wolf King to Northern Plains. At the same time, he replenished the 3 wolf groups, raising the scale of the wolf group to 60,000. Fang Yuan did not immediately return to Gu tribe, instead he picked up a half-finished product and began to refine Gu. After spending a long while, when the first rays of sunlight shone on Crescent Lake, he obtained rank 5 breath concealment Gu. The heaven and earth of the 5 regions were different, whether it were Gu worms or Gu masters. Once they went into other regions, they would be suppressed. But different from Gu worms, human is the spirit of all living beings and had great intelligence and adaptability. As long as a few years went by, Gu masters could completely adapt to the environment and obtain the recognition of the region, no longer facing suppression. And for the Gu worms to not be suppressed, Fang Yuan refined the Gu at Northern Plains. No matter where the materials were from or whatever Gu worms were used, the moment the Gu refinement was completed, the new rank 5 breath concealment Gu was born in Northern Plains and obtained Northern Plains recognition, not suffering from the suppression. Back then, Fang Yuan had obtained rank 2 breath concealment Gu in Ziyu Mountain. By refining and ranking up this Gu worm, the rank 5 breath concealment Gu was finally formed. At rank 5, breath concealment Gu did not have any huge changes, was still like a purple exquisite tree leaf, it was just that the purple was deeper in color and even had a slight metallic luster. After using the breath concealment Gu to hide his cultivation back to rank 4 middle stage, Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air. He was now at rank 5 peak stage, and even after suffering the suppression in Northern Plains, he still had rank 5 initial stage aura. If he returned to Gu tribe like this, it was sure to attract suspicion. At the same time, if one day, a portion of the suppression lifts and his cultivation suddenly rose, it would result in conjectures and doubts. Breath concealment Gu could prevent such an accident. Fang Yuan returned to Gu tribe with the wolf group. As expected, the Gu tribesmen were shocked and pleasantly surprised. But there were many wolf groups in Northern Plains. Crescent Lake was also a place filled with spirituality and many beast groups gathered around it. It was not difficult to explain how Fang Yuan gained such a bountiful harvest. Fang Yuan placed a part of the wolf group inside the camp and another group outside, letting them move about. When he returned to the giant lizard house Gu tribe leader Gu Guang immediately came over to pay respects, bringing 2 letters with him. Congratulations to Lord for gaining a huge increase in strength after this hunt. Gu Guang had 2 dark circles under his eyes, his face however had a joyous expression. Throughout this day and night, he had been cleaning up the battlefield with Gu tribe elders, gathering the goods and dealing with those who surrendered. He was so busy that he had no time to sleep. Looking at Gu tribe's strength expand in his hands, Gu Guang was very excited, causing his respect towards Chang Shan Yin to deepen by another layer. He understood clearly that without Chang Shan Yin, this day would not have come for Gu tribe. My luck was quite good and I had some gains. Fang Yuan sat on the seat and lightly nodded at Gu Guang. His strength increase did not end with the wolf groups. His cultivation and soul also had huge advancement. Gu Guang and the rest would be terrified if they knew. At Langya Blessed Land, Fang Yuan had used up one chance to refine Immortal Gu, and obtained Stargate Gu, thus causing his inactive chessboard to become alive again. Fang Yuan's strength progressed at an unimaginable speed every time he entered Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Everyone would find it hard to believe such rapid progress. However, it was also very reasonable when one carefully looked. N. The Epsilon Lb N, a haven for bookworms and dreamers. Fang Yuan possessed a blessed land, he was growing using the foundation of a Gu immortal. The difference between immortals and mortals were as different as night and day, adding in his 500 years of experience that allowed him to absorb the rapid increase in strength, he could grow smoothly without facing any issues. Fang Yuan had been risking his life, like walking on a tightrope in between cliffs to obtain these enormous wealth that changed into deep accumulation. Finally, the accumulation was changing into explosive growth in strength. Lord, by devouring Yen tribe we have obtained a total of over 634,000 primeval stones, 1 rank 5 Gu, 27 rank 4 Gu and many rank 3, rank 2 and rank 1 Gu. Besides them, there are over 2,000 Gu refinement recipes, 300 hump wolves and many big stomach horses. Lizard House Gu numbers to thousands, hundreds of mushroom Gu, and the number of captives are over 7,000. Gu Guang excitedly reported. Fang Yuan quietly listened, because he had taken down Yen tribe's higher-ups in one move and also due to the surprise attack, Gu tribe was able to receive huge benefits. Especially the amount of captives, it was unexpectedly over 7,000. Among them were large numbers of rank 2 and rank 1 Gu masters who wanted to surrender. After Gu tribe incorporated them, the tribe's strength had increased by over twofold. Lord, this is the inventory list after calculating, please take a look. You can take anything you want. Gu Guang respectfully handed Fang Yuan a list. To Fang Yuan, these resources were instead not essential. He had Hu Immortal Blessed Land now, the appeal of primeval stones to him had fallen down to the abyss. The days where he had to scheme for 1 or 2 primeval stones on Qing Mao Mountain had already left him. He lacked immortal essence stones, the more he had the better. Unfortunately, Yen tribe did not have a Gu immortal, so how could they have immortal essence stones? The reason why Fang Yuan assisted Gu tribe was to have a chess piece, to act as a shield for him so that he could meddle in the heroes' assembly. If possible, he did not want to give up the identity of Chang Shan-yin prematurely. The longer he managed the tribe, the more use it would have for him in the Battle of 5 Regions. According to the rules of the grassland, the half of these spoils are all mine. But these things are not suited for me, so I shall leave them with Gu tribe. Fang Yuan gave back the list to Gu Guang. Yes, Lord. Gu Guang promptly replied. My wolf groups will be fed by your tribe. Account for the expenses using my share of the spoils. Fang Yuan added. Gu Guang, however, shook his head and said with sincerity, Lord, the reason our Gu tribe can have this day is all because of you. How could I, Gu Guang, be a person who doesn't know favors? Feeding the wolf groups is our Gu tribe's responsibility, there is no need for Lord to spend your wealth. I understand deeply that my abilities are not enough to manage the whole Gu tribe. I hope Senior can guide and give me pointers in the coming days. He. Fang Yuan laughed and took a deep glance at Gu Guang. This young man before him could be considered to have some experience now. Although he had only held the tribe leader position for a short time, he had experienced trials and wandered in between life and death, he took risks, and thus progressed rapidly. As the saying goes, heroes emerge in troubled times. This Gu Master world had a cruel environment and it was not easy to live. And precisely so, heroes emerged in large numbers and endlessly. Gu Guang, you are pretty good. In that case, I shall become Gu tribe's external elder. Gu Guang's whole body shook before wild joy emerged in his face. He promptly kneeled on the ground. Junior is presumptuous and sincerely requests Senior to become the supreme elder of Gu tribe. Supreme elder? Fang Yuan muttered. Gu Guang raised his head and looked at Fang Yuan sincerely. He knew Gu tribe's current great situation was closely related to Chang Shan, that is the only way they can move stably and far, while obtaining the most benefits. If Chang Shan was not around, just relying on his rank 3 cultivation would not be enough to suppress the expanding Gu tribe. Alright, I shall accept it. Fang Yuan agreed. By this point, Gu tribe's circumstances was also part of his plan. Gu Guang was only a rank 3 Gu master and had just taken the tribe leader position. Fang Yuan made Gu tribe take over Yan tribe. It allowed him to have greater control of this person. By controlling this person, he controlled Gu tribe. What? Yan tribe was exterminated by Gu tribe. At another place beside Crescent Lake, one tribe leader listened to the news and looked at Bei tribe's envoy with shock. Bei tribe's envoy was an old rank 3 Gu master, his face filled with wrinkles, gray hair, sunken and dark eyes. He was an enslavement path expert with some reputation in northern plains, named Bei Chaosheng. That is precisely so. Many tribes already know of this. Not long later, the news will spread to the whole northern plains. Your tribe is in a remote location and has many large beast groups in the surroundings, thus you were not able to get this news immediately. Bei Chaosheng continued, I have come here to represent the alliance of Bei, Zheng and Pei tribe to request Wang tribe to join the alliance and punish Gu tribe together. Chapter 478, Main Pillar. Hearing Bei tribe, Zheng tribe and Pei tribe had already allied, Wang tribe leader slightly furrowed his brows. In northern plains, it was not strange for tribes to form an alliance. The struggle for the imperial court was arriving soon, the appearance of alliances also increased. I have a doubt. Gu tribe was originally weaker than Yan tribe, how could such a small existence swallow a bigger force? Wang tribe leader questioned. Bei Chaosheng laughed, Gu tribe could absorb Yan tribe all because of one person. I wonder if Lord Wang tribe leader has ever heard of Chang Shan. Chang Shan. Wang tribe leader slightly frowned, this name brought a familiar feeling in the depths of his heart as if he had heard it somewhere. Soon after, his furrowed brows relaxed and an astonished look appeared on his face. Chang Shan, could it be the Wolf King who had killed Hatu Gu? He. I am in admiration of tribe leader's knowledge. Bei Chaosheng cupped his fists, yes, it is because of this person's meddling that led to Gu tribe's victory. Who would have expected that the hero of northern plains would still alive after all this time? No one knows what happened in all these years. He appeared with low profile and with his lone strength, made Gu tribe, a small existence, swallow the big Yan tribe. Of course, this is also because Yan tribe's higher-ups were schemed against by Chang Shan and were taken down collectively. This allowed Gu tribe to have dominance when they attacked Yan tribe camp. Bei Chaosheng spoke with assurance, he was actually very clear of this inside story. In truth, after Yan tribe was exterminated, there were naturally some who were able to escape alive and went to Bei tribe to request protection. With such informants, Bei tribe was naturally very clear of the situation. One tribe leader's brows furrowed deeper. Back in those days, Wolf King with his lone strength could bypass realms and kill rank 5 Gu master Hatu Gu along with his bandit group. Such strength truly intimidates people. How can we deal with such expert with our strength? Rank 4 Gu masters were already the leaders of small mid-scale tribes. Rank 5 Gu masters were at the peak of the mortal world. Long ago, the news of Chang Shan killing Hatu Gu had created an uproar in the whole northern plains. Reputation, whether good or bad, follows closely like a shadow. Chang Shan deeds had spread throughout northern plains for so many years, it was natural for Wang tribe leader to have some apprehension. Bei Chaosheng laughed loudly, ha ha ha, it is natural for Lord tribe leader to have worries. Wolf King was indeed an amazing character. But times have changed, today's Wolf King is no longer as valiant as before. I would like to hear the details. Everyone knows the strength of enslavement path Gu masters is determined by their troops. Wolf King has just come back, his wolf group is no longer of the same scale as before, with not even a single mutated beast. There are only ordinary wind wolves, night wolves and turtleback wolves with him. And in the battle with Yen tribe, they already suffered huge losses. His battle strength is not so mighty. Bei Chaoxing continued, moreover, Wolf King attacked Yen tribe without rhyme or reason, this is the conduct of the demonic path, slaughtering ordinary mortals goes against Northern Plains rules. He is no longer the hero of our Northern Plains, but a demon everyone needs to hunt. The one we are punishing this time is a sinner who creates conflicts, an evildoer who invades at will. We have righteousness with us while Gu tribe is at the side of injustice and evil. The heroes' assembly has not begun yet, the struggle for imperial court has not started yet, but they dared to openly wage a war with another tribe, this is unforgivable. Looking at the history of Northern Plains, which of the people that violated the bottom line like this has ever had a good ending? Bei Chaoxing's words were full of passion, indeed as the political advisor of Bei tribe, his words had the power to incite people's hearts. But Wang tribe leader also was a seasoned character and not someone who could be easily influenced. His gaze flashed and said with hesitation, although it is so, Wolf King is after all the Wolf King. In the battle between giants, there will definitely be injuries. After the battle ends, there is bound to be enormous losses. Bei Chaoxing shook his head and smiled without concern, he. Wolf King might be strong, but 2 fists cannot defeat 4 hands. Gu tribe has just absorbed Yen tribe, they have eaten too much this time and inflated very quickly, they will not be stable for a long time. As long as Wang tribe joins us, why would our 4 tribes alliance be afraid of a puny Gu tribe? Wang tribe leader muttered irresolutely for a while and said, I am not afraid of Gu tribe, but Wolf King is the Wolf King. He mysteriously disappeared for so many years, who knows what happened, he might have even had fortuitous encounter. He definitely has some plan in making his appearance now. Such a character is sure to have trump cards that he has not shown yet. Bei Chaoxing scoffed, reputation usually comes from exaggeration. Wang tribe leader, why should we puff up the enemy and lower our morale? Why are you so afraid of the Wolf King? He is already past his prime, even if he has trump cards, he is no more than an enslavement path Gu master in the end. Since he is an enslavement path Gu master, we have ways to deal with him. Truthfully speaking, our Bei tribe also has enslavement path Gu masters, our tribe's forest soldier corps which has made its name in Northern Plains, it can completely face Changshan. Besides them, Jing tribe has the renowned lightning spear battle formation while Pei tribe leader Lord Pei Yanfei is a famous expert in Northern Plains and has already advanced to rank 4 peak stage. Even if Wolf King has much more troops, Lord Pei Yanfei can move past the troops and directly attack and kill the Wolf King. It was common knowledge that enslavement path Gu masters feared beheading the leader tactics. As long as this tactic succeeded, even a huge army of millions would immediately fall into chaos and flee in disorder. One tribe leader, however, was still hesitating, and evaded it saying he needed a few days to consider as it was a serious matter. Disappointment flashed past Bei Chaoxing's eyes, this is a serious matter, it makes sense for Wang tribe leader to consider it carefully. However, this matter cannot be delayed, if we allow the Gu tribe to recover their senses and digest the spoils of the war, our losses when we fight will be much more larger. Please take note of this, Lord tribe leader. Wang tribe leader nodded, at most 3 days, during this period, you can stay in our tribe and receive our warmest welcome. Bei Chaoxing could only take the initiative to say his farewell after hearing these words. When he had just left the hall, a person entered. This person was thin with a yellowish face, there were 3 strands of beard on his chin and a pair of sharp and bright eyes. He was Wang tribe leader's competent assistant, Wang tribe elder Wang Dadao, an experienced strategist. Lord tribe leader, are we really going to agree to Bei tribe and join this alliance? Wang de Dao asked with some worries. He, of course not, you don't need to worry. Wang tribe leader laughed. Wang de Dao let out a breath of relief. Tribe leader is wise to not be bewitched by others. The power struggle for imperial court is arriving, and years of battle will follow it. Preserving strength is our main priority. The thoughts of Bei, Pei, and Jing tribe, these three mid-scale tribes, are very clear. Yan tribe is in-laws of Lu tribe, Yan Chui'er is Lu tribe young master's fiancé. They are thinking of becoming dogs of Lu tribe, to curry favor with Lord Lu Wenwu, but they want to involve my tribe to share the risks. Yes. Wang tribe leader nodded. Our Wang tribe is a large-scale tribe, we need to make our moves very carefully. The struggle for the imperial court is like a battle of dragons and snakes, in the end, who can become the final winner? We need to observe carefully and choose the side we are siding with. Every 10 years in northern plains, there would be a terrifying and shocking blizzard. Only by entering the imperial court, could one have protection to not be affected by the blizzard. But the quota in imperial court was limited, there were too many that wanted to enter, thus they would go through bitter battle, and after eliminating the weak, the master of the imperial court would be decided. One tribe might be a large-scale tribe but was classified as those tribes with superficial foundation, having no intents to vie for the throne. They only wanted to side with the correct force and become the one with the greatest contribution, thus entering the imperial court and avoiding the disaster. If we can't enter the imperial court, our tribe will definitely suffer disastrous damage during the blizzard. We will fall from our current large-scale force to mid-scale, small-scale or even complete extermination with a high probability. But if we can enter imperial court, through the support of the resources of imperial court, we can recuperate, and if our luck is good, we can have the qualifications to vie for the next rulership of imperial court. Wang de Dao said with a grave expression. This matter concerned the survival and prosperity of the whole Wang tribe. Every Wang tribesman was cautious and careful. Then, how should we deal with Bei Chaosheng? Wang tribe leader asked. Wang de Dao stroked his beard and said after a while, we should properly entertain this person, and 3 days later, we can tactfully decline their alliance invitation. At the same time, we will send a letter to Gu tribe behind their back, to express our goodwill to the Wolf King and tell them of this matter. Let them fight each other while we will watch safely from the sideline. If there is an opportunity, we can have no worries in benefiting from their conflict. N0v3LTR0VE served as the original host for this chapter's release on N0v3LB1N. Hahaha, your words deeply resonates with my heart. One tribe leader could not help laughing heartily. Gazing at the letter in his hand, Gu tribe leader Gu Guang had a worried expression. All the Gu tribe elders beside him were also silent. The atmosphere had become so heavy in the main tent that it was almost suffocating. Bei, Pei, and Jing tribe have allied to combine their strength and pass judgment to our tribe. They are wantonly attracting more allies now. One tribe leader has sent this information secretly. I am afraid not long later, the allied army would make their move. Elders, do you have any good plans? Gu Guang asked. This matter is not looking good. Our tribe has just absorbed Yan tribe, although our morale is high, we have yet to digest the spoils of the war. If the enemy invades us, it is hard to say if the Yan tribe captives we have won't rise up in rebellion. At that time, with both external and internal threats, our Gu tribe won't be far from extermination. Then should we retreat? Retreat? Where? We have a camp now and can defend our positions. But if we retreat, there will be nothing to protect us. Do we just wait for those tribes to surround us then? The elders started discussing. Gu Guang looked at them with a disappointed gaze. The elders were just making random comments with no one giving reasonable suggestion. This instead caused the atmosphere in the tent to become more repressing and was vaguely shaking up their battle will. Alright, no need to say any more. He raised his hand and put an end to the discussion. I won't hide this from you. Few days ago, Lord Wolf King Xianxia has agreed to become our tribe's supreme elder. We need to invite him to discuss this matter. Gu Guang revealed the news. He had kept this news hidden. Now that he said it out, it was like a cardiac stimulant that caused the elders to feel a rush of morale. Lord Wolf King has become our tribe's supreme elder. Great, great, this is a cause for celebration. With Lord Wolf King with us, we have a chance of survival. The suppressing atmosphere in the tent was immediately swept clean and the fallen morale rapidly soared. This was the effect of an expert. In times of crisis, they were the main pillar that could hold up the sky and earth. Seeing this, Gu Guang realized why only Gu masters with high cultivation could become the ones in power in tribes. Chapter 479, Good Weather to Kill. Fang Yuan was invited into Gu tribe's main tent. Oh, 3 tribes are allying to deal with us. Fang Yuan heard this and his eyes shone, asking, which 3? An elder immediately replied, reporting to Lord Supreme Elder, it is Pei tribe, Bei tribe, and Jing tribe. Pausing for a second, this elder continued, Pei tribe's Pei Yan Fei has rank 4 peak stage cultivation, he is a fierce general famous in northern plains. Although Bei tribe is only a middle-sized tribe, it has 2 enslavement path Gu masters. As for Jing tribe, although they were created not too long ago, their lightning spear battle formation is nothing to be trifled with. Fang Yuan nodded, he had heard a familiar name, that was Pei Yan Fei. This person was truly a fierce general in northern plains. After joining Lu Wenwu, he became Lu tribe's 3rd general. In the future battles, he often fought his way into enemy formations alone, assaulting and disrupting their battle formations. As he charged through unstoppably, he aimed for the leader's head. N. N, a haven for bookworms and dreamers. As for Bei tribe and Jing tribe, although Fang Yuan had no memories of them, it did not obstruct him from estimating their strength. Either of these 2 tribes were equal to Gu tribe back in Hongyan Valley. Bei tribe had 2 enslavement path Gu masters, this meant that they could resist Fang Yuan's wolf group head-on. As for Jing tribe, it seemed that they grew to power using the lightning spear battle formation. This was Jing tribe's trump card, it could not be underestimated. However, I need large numbers of souls to feed Dang Hun Mountain and strengthen my own soul. The alliance of the 3 tribes will allow me to kill many people, right? He. Thinking so, Fang Yuan's lips curled into a cold smile. Right now, the 3 tribes have allied, the situation is precarious. Uncle Chang Shan, what should Gu tribe do? Gu Guang was yearning for an answer. Fang Yuan raised his brows, his words oozing with killing intent, what can we do? Since they want to kill us anyway, we will strike first and attack them immediately. You have to know, the best defense is offense. What? Attack? Hearing this, Gu tribe higher-ups were shocked. In their earlier discussions, some people suggested retreating, some suggested defending, but no one had suggested attacking. This idea was too aggressive and risky. After all, the power of the 3 allied tribes greatly surpassed Gu tribe. Now that Gu tribe had just assimilated Yan tribe's captives, they had internal woes as well. Is it too crazy to just attack them now? The elders looked at each other, sensing each other's worry from their expressions. But because of Fang Yuan's attitude, they did not dare to speak out. At once, everyone went silent. Gu Guang hesitated for a while, before meekly saying, Uncle Chang Shan, the enemy is strong while we are weak, but we are going to strike first and give up on defending the camp. Fang Yuan snorted, if you are thinking like this, so are our enemies. Precisely so, we have to initiate the attack and catch them off guard. Tonight, we shall gather our forces and assault them in the dark. Which tribe is the closest to us? The closest is Bei tribe, following by Jing tribe and then Pei tribe who are the furthest. Gu Guang replied. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, very good, then we shall wipe out Bei tribe first, before slaughtering Jing tribe and then find a chance to finish off Pei tribe. This battle will be tragic, be mentally prepared. But we cannot make progress without sacrifices. After we devour the 3 tribes, our Gu tribe will strengthen even further. The tribe elders looked at each other, tongue-tied, shocked by Fang Yuan's ambition. With Gu tribe's current situation, he still wanted to devour the allied enemies who were 2 to 3 times stronger than them. This was unimaginable. Seeing the hesitant gang, Fang Yuan waved his hand, then that will be the plan, go and prepare for it. Yes. The higher-ups replied. That night, the night winds blew and the moon was high in the sky. Gu tribe camp opened its gates as the wolves ran out like a flowing river. Countless Gu masters were mixed in with them, as they charged forward with strong killing intent. What a good weather, this is a perfect weather to kill people. Fang Yuan sat on a mutated beast as he laughed. This mutated beast was that White-Eyes wolf. It was an infant earlier, but after Fang Yuan used the time path Gu worm to accelerate its growth, it rapidly aged. Now, this White-Eyes wolf was several times its original size. Having a body of white snow-like fur, its body shape was slim and smooth like water, only slightly smaller than a hump wolf. But its current battle strength was only comparable to an ordinary 100-wolf king. There were no wild Gu inside its body. Time was needed for wild Gu to live in a beast king. During a beast king's long period of growth, multiple wild Gu worms would come to seek refuge with them. But this White-Eyes wolf grew too fast, it lacked the foundation built with time, and because it was always by Fang Yuan's side, there were no Gu on it. Because of that, Fang Yuan used it as his steed and let it accompany him. Sometimes, using its vision, he could scout areas quickly. The army moved quickly towards Bei tribe. Bei tribe camp was situation on a mound. There were originally many trees on the mound, but now they were all removed and a tall wall was erected all around Bei tribe camp. On the wall, there were observational towers that were giving off a bright light, lighting up the dark camp. On the surface of the wall, there were wooden spikes and several Bei tribe Gu masters were standing at set intervals, giving off a strong impregnable aura. Lord, are we really attacking? The army stealthily got closer as Gu Guang observed the wall, his heart jumped as he had the urge to retreat. Fang Yuan laughed, we will definitely win. What does Lord Supreme Elder mean? An elder did not understand and asked. Fang Yuan pointed at the wall, precise because of the sturdy wall, these Bei tribe Gu masters are complacent, sending only a few Gu masters to guard it. The fact that we could get too near to them is proof of this. Furthermore, this light is too bright, it shows Bei tribe's intention to scare off the weak. Such a false bravado, while attempting to show that they were a stronghold, revealed all their little secrets. Hearing this, Gu tribesmen were assured. Fang Yuan instructed again, later, I will send the wolves to crush the wall, you will send the Yan tribe captives to charge and lead the way, while Gu tribe Gu masters watch them. If anyone tries to rebel or run away, kill them on the spot. His icy cold voice made everyone shudder. The moment he said that, before waiting for the elders to react, Fang Yuan waved his hand as 2 myriad wolf kings led their wolf groups and rushed out. In a few breaths' time, they got into the lighted area. Wolves, why are there so many wolves? Bei tribe Gu masters rubbed their eyes, finding it unbelievable. Enemy assault, enemy assault. Some people reacted and shouted loudly, using their Gu worms to send signals. Block them, reinforcements are coming. The Gu masters shouted with all their strength. But Fang Yuan's attack was ferocious and overwhelming, it was like 2 iron fists that had been storing energy for a day. The battle strength of a myriad wolf king was not to be underestimated, often, a rank 4 Gu master and multiple rank 3 experts were needed to deal with one. Two myriad wolf kings, under Fang Yuan's manipulation, unleashed their strongest attacks without hesitation. Bam! 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 Every impact was soul-shaking. The study wall swayed in the wind like a flimsy paper. Especially the turtleback myriad wolf king, it had a thick skin and a strong body, it caused the most damage to the wall. Bei tribe Gu masters were busy retaliating, but their scattered attacks were blocked by the myriad wolf king's defensive Gu. When Bei tribe's reinforcements arrived in a hurry, they saw the collapse of an entire segment of the wall. Two myriad wolf kings led their endless wolf armies as they charged into the camp. Night wolf myriad beast king. Turtleback myriad wolf king. Bei tribe leader saw this sight and he was shocked out of his wits. These were two types of wolves, as wild wolf groups, they will never work together. This situation only meant one thing, there was someone controlling them. Who was the culprit? Bei tribe leader did not need to think twice before a name appeared in his heart, Wolf King Xianxia. Xianxia. Bei tribe leader gritted his teeth and fire almost spewed out of his eyes. But his fury could not stop the attack of the wolf group. So be it if they were ordinary wolves, but under Fang Yuan's control, strength and knowledge became the best companions. Bei tribe tried resisting, and formed many defensive formations, but the wolf group charged without worry for casualties, it was an all-out attack. The Gu tribe Gu masters behind the wolf group were like spectators. Rank 4, Grass Puppet Gu. Bei tribe leader injected his primeval essence into the grass below his feet. The grass grew to the size of a person, turning into a grass puppet, holding a green leaf-long sword. This was the grass sword elite soldier. Large numbers of grass sword elite soldiers charged towards the wolf group. The grass sword elite soldiers successfully resisted the wolf group's attack, they formed a formation near the main tent and blocked the wolves like a green monolith. But this situation was only temporary, when Bei tribe leader's primeval essence was used up, the grass sword elite soldiers were out of steam and the monolith became smaller, submerged by the wolves. Retreat, we will retreat to Jing tribe. As long we are alive, Bei tribe will have the hopes of returning one day. Bei tribe leader saw that the defeat was set in stone and resolutely decided to retreat. Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan rode the white-eyes wolf as he looked at the escaping Bei tribesmen, laughing loudly. Lord, we won. Gu Guang said excitedly. We've only won the first out of 3 battles. Leave some people behind to clean up the battlefield, we will chase them. Fang Yuan waved and the tens of thousands of wolves howled and changed directions towards Jing tribe. They are chasing us. The Bei tribe Gu masters who were escaping saw such a grand army and were scared till their souls trembled. No wait, Chang Shan Yin's next target is Jing tribe. Someone understood. Not only did he take down our tribe, he also wants to take down Jing tribe. Someone furiously screamed. Tribe leader, what do we do? My primeval essence is almost used up, soon, they will catch up. Someone shouted frantically. Bei tribe leader hesitated for a moment, he did not have much primeval essence left, he could only change directions and enter the forest near him. Fang Yuan led the army and ignored these people, charging straight for Jing tribe. He did not chase us, he went to Jing tribe after all. Bei tribe's higher-ups breathed roughly, standing in the forest, they watched the stampede of over 10,000 wolves. Bei tribe leader's expression was solemn, the veins on his fists were about to burst, the hatred in his heart and the flames of fury almost incinerated him, but there was nothing he could do. Chapter 480, Go die, go die. Prepare the lightning spears. Jing tribe leader shouted furiously as he went to the front line. After crushing Bei tribe, Fang Yuan led his army without stopping towards Jing tribe camp. A bitter battle erupted instantly. Fang Yuan commanded 2 myriad beast kings to attack together, breaking through Jing tribe's 2 defensive lines in moments. However, at the third line, they were finally stopped. The ones who stopped the wolf tide was Zheng tribe's renowned trump card, the Lightning Spear Corps. These rank 2 Gu masters stood in a row on the walls, emitting strong elite aura, forging a wall made of flesh and blood. Hearing the tribe leaders shout, these Gu masters immediately pushed forward their right hand and poured their primeval essence into the lightning imprint on their right palm. This was the imprint of the Lightning Spear Gu. Next, Gu tribesmen saw lightning emitting out of these Gu masters' palms before forming into silverish blue-colored spears. These spears were 4 feet long and were completely condensed from lightning. Lightning flickered and emitted a soft sizzling sound. "Shoot!" Zheng tribe leader shouted. Whoosh! In an instant, 580 lightning spears flew together and drew a dense arc in the sky. The shining lightning illuminated the battlefield for a moment. The blue light shone on everyone's faces. The difference was Gu Guang and his group had ashen expressions, while Zheng tribe leader had a proud smile. Lightning spears rained down upon the charging wolf group. Even though turtleback wolves had strong shells, they were still pierced by the lightning spears. Let alone the wind wolves and night wolves who were weak in defense. The volley of lightning spears showed an extraordinary might, instantly clearing up a large area of the battlefield. The densely packed wolf group also became thinner. Over 500 wolves fell, dead. The offense of the wolf group had slowed down. Ha ha ha, look, this is our tribe's Lightning Spear Corps. With such strong troops, who dares to look down on our tribe? This is the strongest blood and flesh wall of our tribe. What could happen to us even if there were more wolves? Zheng tribe's Gu masters shouted in excitement at this sight, their morale increasing rapidly. In contrast, Gu tribesmen had grave expressions. Chang Shanin. Zheng tribe leader used sound amplification Gu to amplify his voice, suppressing all the chaotic noises of the battlefield. You invaded my tribe without rhyme or reason. The heroes' assembly has not started yet, but you are recklessly starting a war with no care for law and order. Your brutal massacre will be punished by all the tribes of Northern Plains. You have not made a great mistake yet, you still have a chance at redemption. Retreat quickly. Otherwise, I shall let the world know of your evil nature. You and the Gu tribe behind you shall be called rats by all Northern Plainsmen. Zheng tribe leader berated and warned. Lord Supreme Elder. Gu tribe's elders looked towards Fang Yuan with hesitation on their faces. Fang Yuan's mad war campaign was indeed violating the rules. Although the 3 tribes allied to deal with Gu tribe, they had yet to act. Just relying on the evidence gathered by Gu tribe, they could not prove anything. Northern Plains Gu masters liked to battle, but they did not battle recklessly, and everything was based on proper reasons. The more sensible and grand the reasons were, the better it was. Moreover, the struggle for the imperial court had not begun yet, so the tribes were mutually restraining each other. Back when Gu tribe was at Hongyan Valley, Man tribe clearly had more strength than Gu tribe, but they still did not make a direct move. Instead, they used schemes to create a wolf tide. This was because Man tribe did not have a proper reason to swallow Gu tribe. This was the rule of the righteous path, the game rule between the tribes of Northern Plains. Fang Yuan leading Gu tribe to invade the 3 tribes alliance was clearly breaking this rule. They were attacking without appropriate reasons, which meant their actions lacked righteousness. Gu tribe's invasive conduct, which reeked of demonic nature, would cause them to be isolated. Other tribes might be vigilant towards them or even attack them. Thus, Gu tribe's higher-ups were worried. But because of Chang Shanyin's strength and prestige, they did not openly oppose him. Right now, the wolf group's offense was obstructed and the Gu tribesmen were starting to show the first signs of worries. Fang Yuan sat indifferently on the mutated beast White Eyes Wolf, gazing at those Gu masters on the wall. The Lightning Spear Corps are indeed extraordinary. His gaze continued to flash as he saw the ingenuity behind this. In the entire Lightning Spear Corps, there were over 500 offensive Gu masters, but the truly important characters were the 100 or so support Gu masters who were hiding in the corner and were strictly defended. These Gu masters used their Gu worms to strengthen the power of the lightning spears or condense the force of the lightning spears into an even stronger attack. Fang Yuan then looked at the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King as well as Turtleback Myriad Wolf King. These two Wolf Kings were obstructed by Zheng tribe leader personally along with the Lightning Spear Corps' combined strength, so they had no choice but to retreat. Their bodies were riddled with wounds. Turtleback Myriad Wolf King was slightly better, but the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King's defense Gu was killed, its entire body was covered with blood and some wounds were so deep, one could even see the bone. Even though Fang Yuan used Wolf Smoke Gu to heal most of these wounds, the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King's strength had dropped by a level. Retreat? Does retreating mean that the others won't pursue? Fang Yuan sneered, retreating was the fastest way to die. Only by advancing without stopping, charging forward, defeating the three-tribe alliance, annihilating the survivors, could the bad influence of breaking Northern Plains rules be reduced to the minimum. Right now, Gu tribe was like a drawn bow, there was no other option but to press on. Gu tribe's higher-ups were short-sighted, so they could not see the situation clearly. But Fang Yuan, with his 500 years of experience, naturally was a seasoned veteran and could clearly see the situation. Everyone, we are at the most crucial moment now. Gu tribesmen, charge forward, fight to the death, whoever dares to retreat a step shall be killed without question. Fang Yuan shouted coldly while actively mobilizing all the remaining forces with him. Howl! Wind Wolf Myriad Beast King lead the Wind Wolf group and rushed to the battlefield. Fang Yuan had been intentionally hiding this Myriad Wolf King outside. He had not brought it to Gu tribe camp and did not use it even when attacking Bei tribe. The third Myriad Wolf King. Gu tribe and Zheng tribe's Gu masters changed expression at the sight of this Wind Wolf King. Gu tribe's higher-ups revealed joy, while Zheng tribe's Gu masters felt like a heavy stone had landed on their hearts. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with cruel killing intent, he waved his hand and the three Wolf Kings rushed forward together. Seeing three Myriad Wolf Kings charge together, Zheng tribe leader's expression paled and furiously attacked. Killer move, Thunderbird. The primeval sea level in his aperture violently dropped as three Gu worms were activated together, forming an enormous lightning bird in the air. The giant bird flew towards the Turtleback Myriad Wolf King and obstructed it. Lightning Spear Corps, shoot together. Zheng tribe leader hastily shouted. Hundreds of lightning spears were shot to the sky. Support Gu masters acted together, converging the flying lightning spears together. In the blink of an eye, the lightning spears combined to form into a lightning snake. Eagle Claw Gu. A rank 3 elder suddenly activated his Gu at the lightning snake. The lightning snake immediately grew out two sharp and steel-like claws. Rhino Horn Gu. Another Zheng tribe elder activated his Gu, a sharp golden horn grew out of the lightning snake's head. Silver Scales Gu. Another elder added bright silver-colored, firm scale armor on the lightning snake's body. This completely armed lightning spear made a circle in the air, looking like a divine dragon descending into the world. Next, it charged down valiantly towards the Wind Wolf Myriad Beast King. This move again. Fang Yuan's eyes twitched. Previously, the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King had been obstructed by this killer move and suffered serious injuries. This was the killer move, Gold and Silver Lightning Dragon. Gu masters nurtured, used and refined Gu, each aspect was a deep field of study. There was the killer move in the aspect of using Gu. Some Gu master experts would exquisitely activate many Gu worms' abilities consecutively in a very short period and fuse them into an even stronger attack. This was a killer move. Normal killer moves were activated by one Gu master. Like Zheng tribe leader's killer move Thunderbird. The Gold and Silver Lightning Dragon, however, was a killer move formed from the cooperation of hundreds of Gu masters. It condensed the strength of hundreds of Gu masters as well as rank 3 experts into an extremely terrifying attack. As it was obstructed by Gold and Silver Lightning Dragon, the Wind Wolf Myriad Beast King had no hopes of advancing further temporarily. However, Fong Yuan was not discouraged. He still had a Myriad Wolf King. Night Wolf Myriad Beast King began a crazed assault under his control. Block it, block it. Hold it back even if you die. Tribesmen, our parents, wives, children, brothers and sisters are behind us, we absolutely cannot lose. This Myriad Beast King no longer has its defense Gu, we still have hope. Jing tribe's Gu masters raised their morale and attacked fiercely. Countless attacks shone brilliantly like fireworks as they landed on the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King's body. This Night Wolf Myriad Beast King's defense Gu had already died. The attacks easily caused its flesh to lacerate, causing it to howl bitterly in pain. The intense pain agitated the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King, its eyes reddened, its killing intent burst out and its offense became fiercer. The origin of this chapter's debut can be traced to N0V3LB1N. Damn it! Seeing the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King kill the Lightning Spear Corps, destroying Jing tribe's most precious trump card, Jing tribe leader almost spurted out blood in anger. However, he could not go to stop it, as right now, he was using all his strength to pin down Turtleback Myriad Wolf King. To protect their home and family, Jing tribe's Gu masters burst out with much greater strength. Die beast! A rank 3 elder dashed out without a thought for his safety and flew towards the Night Wolf Myriad Beast King's eyes, fiercely piercing forwarding with his hands. The Night Wolf King had no time to dodge and its eyes were pierced. Amidst the incomparable pain, it opened its mouth and bit this rank 3 elder apart. The rank 3 elder's body was split into 2, but he had a smile on his face before dying. He used his final trace of primeval essence to inflict heavy injuries on the Night Wolf King. Such a situation was not rare. To block the Night Wolf King, many Jing tribe's Gu masters chose to sacrifice themselves and protect their home. Truly brave warriors. Fong Yuan praised while laughing coldly. In his mind, Fong Yuan sensed the Night Wolf King's intense desire to retreat. But he did not allow that and forcibly made it continue attacking. Lightning Spear Corps suffered serious losses in the intense fight with the Night Wolf King, not even 10% survived. With there being no decent resistance, Gu tribe's Gu masters charged out and created an opening rapidly. The scales of victory tilted towards Fong Yuan. Time passed, Gold and Silver Lightning Dragon dissipated in the air and the Wind Wolf King became free. Under Fong Yuan's control, it started killing Jing tribe elders. Next, the wolf group charged inside Jing tribe camp like a tide, mercilessly killing the old, the weak, women and children. Wretched screams, despairing shouts and shrieks resounded throughout the battlefield. Die, go and die, the more deaths there are, the more souls I can obtain. Fong Yuan looked expressionlessly at this living hell, as he secretly used his storage Gu.